Ooh.
Okay, so hello, food photography Facebook people. I see that I have a little issue here. 1 second. I know that this is just going to be me tinkering for like 1 second, so be patient.
Yeah, these things happen.
There we go. Okay. Okay, we're live. We are coming to you from Utah and Australia. Super excited to be here. And I am so delighted because I've been wanting to start Facebook Live interviews and this is our first one. So Rachel, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
You are our girl.
Me.
Yes. So for the last couple of days, we've been touting this amazing live interview with Rachel Korinek. Did I say it right?
That's right. Yep.
Yes, from TwoLoves Studio. And if you follow Lubis, which I know quite a few of you do, if you have ever Googled food photography backgrounds or tips or resources, chances are you already know that Rachel is a leading voice in getting out information that is actually helpful for food photographers and food bloggers. So thank you for thank you for all the resources that you create. I know that I the other day was on your site and I just like went down the vortex of you have so many great articles, and so thank you for creating resources.
I love it. I love educating. I have a degree in teaching, so it's just something that it runs in the family. So it just lights me up and gives me so much purpose to connect with people that way. So it's awesome.
Well, you do such a good job of it too. So tell us a little bit about your background. You started as a blogger. So our group is primarily bloggers and food photographers, kind of a mix of the professional food photographer and then the professional blogger. Yeah. And you kind of are right in the center of that. Tell us about your background.
So in terms of food photography, this is many, many years ago when I think blogging, it was definitely already started, but it wasn't as popular. And I just started 3 blogs, I think, as we all do when we do something crazy like that. But my blog was basically just about all the things I love to do, hiking, even crochet, I'll admit that, and food photography and stuff. And I just found that food photography was what I was really drawn to, but I didn't even know it was a thing. So I was, learning how to take photos, how to cook, style dishes, and just very randomly on a summer holiday with my now husband, I came across Helen Desjardins' Plate to Pixel book, and my mind was just blown, and I was like, oh wow, this is actually a thing, and it just evolved from there. So I spent many years with my blog doing a food blog, as many of us do when we shoot food, and I hated it. Like I absolutely hated it, and I just kept pushing because I was like, you have to do this, you have to love wanting to create recipes, and you have to want to do a book and stuff. And then eventually I connected with what I really wanted my blog to be about. So that journey has taken quite some time, but we get there in the end.
So where would you say that you ended up, if not like just cooking recipes all the time? Like what was your sweet spot?
It was it was coming back to connecting with people authentically. So recipes and food creation for me was just not authentic, and that's why I didn't like it. So I think it was connecting with people, empowering people, elevating people to do what they love. And I have a podcast as well. It's called The Mindful Creative, and I share a lot of my mental struggles with creativity because I just found that a lot of people were having the same thing. So I kind of use myself to like help others in a way sometimes by doing things like that. So it was really just the aspect of like connecting and empowering people to try and do what they love in their life.
So what do you, who comes and talks to you on Mindful Creative now?
So it's been amazing. Like it's kind of law of attraction. People just sort of find me who are willing to share their experience. So it's a lot of people who have like been on my list or connected through Instagram. I have a psychologist for the next episode that's going to come on, and we're going to talk about a growth mindset. So it's just amazing when you start putting this out there that you find people. So yeah.
That's amazing. Great. I'm going to totally download that because I think that I remember you having that, but I haven't yet listened. So one of the things that I find about being in a creative career is there are so many aspects to it. And you do have to pick apart, you know, the fear of being vulnerable, constantly staying inspired, coming up with your own ideas and working with clients. I mean, it's such a dramatically huge bucket of skills to have.
I'd say it's the hardest thing that I've done. And I've done some difficult things, I would say, in my life. But the constant, you know, mindset shift that you have to go through is phenomenal. So, and it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time and it takes constant practice.
Yeah. How about you? Like, where was a point for you? Because I think that in our group, we have a lot of people who are like between, like they know that this is a passion.
Yeah.
And it's like, when did you say, this is what I need to do to like make the jump to be full-time? Did you have a moment or an enlightening thought where you were like, that's what I was waiting for?
Well, it's interesting. Like I really fought it for the longest time because I had feelings of like, I'm not good enough and I can't do this. And, you know, how am I going to survive and all those types of things. And I also have a degree in business and I was working in accounting, and I was at that stage where I wanted to, but I just was really unsure. And so they came to me and offered me a promotion, and I just was like, I know that I can't take it because I know I have to at least give this a go. So my thing was just, I didn't want to end up at the end of my life and be like, I never tried it. So that was really something I had to just
terrifying?
Jump in and do. Oh my God, I remember coming to my boss and saying I'm not going to take it, and I was just crying like in the office. I just felt like a blubbering
What am I doing?
Yeah, but I was just like, I knew inside of me that I just had to. I mean, I was terrified, but I was like, you know, I just cannot let that get in the way. And so I just put myself in the deep end. And I wouldn't say that I would recommend doing that. I think it will work for some people, but not others. But everyone just needs to find what their sweet spot is or what that looks like for them.
Yes,
so
yes.
I'd have to say that I would.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say I'd have to say that I was probably happiest when I was part-time freelancing and doing something else, because as I'm sure you know, when you're a full-time photographer, you don't always get to do enjoyable things. And there's a lot of things that come with a business that aren't amazing. So, you know, if that's what it looks like for you, then I think you should definitely be true to yourself. So
that's fantastic. Yeah, it's funny. Actually, we had a guest in town this week, and they were saying, a family was saying, oh, your kids are so lucky. They probably eat so well. And I was like, no. Like, all of the food is made by 2 p.m. and then it's shot, and then it's touched, and then it's cut into, and then it's, you know, folded and molded. And so by the time dinner comes, I'm literally like, what do we have for Trader Joe's?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so full-time work does get wild.
Yeah, it does.
It does. Well, thank you. I'm so grateful. I mean, I could ask endless questions about this because I think that it's so interesting to hear how people land into photography. But we are going to talk about the actual fundamentals of like how you take your photography from something that is happening on your kitchen table to something that people actually want to buy. And I think that so many photographers, and I know that this is true when I started, I almost felt like I was cheating or doing something wrong if I had to edit.
And I'm so glad that you said that because I really want to talk about that. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. We're going to get into it. Yeah. And so as I have started to work more and more with brands and a variety of different clients who all have different styles and requests and asks, I have come to realize that half of the art is in the creation and setup, but truly to be a professional, the other half of the art is having a really fluent understanding of how to edit to create what it is that you want to create. So anyway, along those lines, for me, Lightroom has been like the absolute joy of all joys because it has cut my editing time in half. I love that you can batch edit multiple pictures. And I think
for
I spent
sure.
so long in Photoshop with like one little picture, and then you come out at the end with like one little picture, that, you know, once I added Lightroom to my process about 5 years ago, clients were like, it was blowing their gourds because I would turn in like 25 pictures from a shoot. You know, and in a world where we all need more and more and more content, I do think that one of the things that has set me apart as a freelancer is that Lightroom helps me deliver a massive amount of content. So anyway,
definitely. Yeah, they're both great programs, but they slightly work for different kind of things. So
yes, for sure. So in those, in that vein, I know that in our group we have people who have been using Lightroom for a long time. We have some people who have never opened it up, and I think in a large part because it costs a little bit of money and it feels really scary and intimidating.
Yeah, it can feel daunting to have to try any new software, but it's like once you just get over that learning curve, it's amazing. And Lightroom's so intuitive that I don't feel that there is that massive curve that you have with something like Photoshop. So
for sure, I totally agree. So I think that the first question that I really want to like offer to you is, what have you found, and like, why even edit? Shouldn't you just set up your picture so it's perfect?
Yes. Such a great question, that I have a lesson on this actually, because it is very important. And like you said, people have this idea that editing is cheating or it's a crutch. And I really want to talk about that and just give a sort of a different perspective, or my perspective. So I tend to come from the camp of, you don't take a photograph, you make it. So that's something that Ansel Adams said. If you think about the niche that we're in, which is food photography, it's still life photography. So in still life and food photography, we're creating the full scene. You know, like with landscape photography, you're going out and capturing what's already there. But still life, we're totally in control of what we make, you know. So when he said you don't take a photograph, you make it, there's so many aspects that you have to put into that in order to get the photograph at the end. And so one of those aspects is editing. So my photos look how they do because that's part of how I make my image. It's part of me getting my style and story through. So editing is really about getting another aspect of your style and storytelling. So I talk about post-processing. So if you think about it as transforming a photo from what was captured in camera to be closer to what your eye saw. So the human eye and brain are they're amazing tools, and they like, the camera is not a replica of that. So there'll be times where you'll see something, but the camera doesn't exactly capture it how you saw it. So that's when editing comes in, because then you can get your photo to what you saw. And then if we go to a more complex layer of that, you know, sometimes you've seen photography. So if you can open Google right now and you type in, I think it was photography Photoshop manipulation, and you'll see the images come up. No, so those images weren't ever real. They were something that someone thought up, and then they had to use editing and Photoshop and manipulation to bring their idea to life. So I tend to look at it as like, editing's not cheating. It's not a crutch. It's bringing your story to life. So, and when I talk about manipulation, you'll see, I was Googling before, and there was a wall and it had a picture frame and there was a big shark coming through it. So like, that never happened, but someone had to put together with editing. So may not necessarily apply to food photography, but I think what we need to remember is that editing is part of making a photo, and it's part of getting what you saw to translate into your photo, which the camera might not necessarily capture exactly the same. So I know when I was putting my course together, and for those of you who know me, they know that I'm a bit of a quote queen. I love to quote things all the time. And I came across this quote from Stephen King, and it was, to write is edit, to write is human, and to edit is divine. And I don't think he was talking about photography, but it just, when I read that, it was like, it's just such a beautiful part of the process to put your finishing touches and your style stamp on, to put your work out there. And just really, it's not necessarily that you're trying to set yourself apart from other people, but you're just trying to make sure that your work has your style all throughout it. You know, how you lay the scene, how you manipulate the light, and then how you edit. So yeah.
Sure. So how about you? Like, when did you start saying editing is a thing?
I think I've always edited. So I started using Lightroom basically when I started shooting, because I've always shot raw files. So you can't, you always need to do some sort of processing to get them to a JPEG. So
did you shoot raw from the very beginning, Rachel?
Pretty much, because my husband and dad had done photography, and so my dad's a very processed guy, so he was always like, you have to shoot raw, you have to shoot raw. So I got into that quite quickly, and I think if there's any of you who don't shoot raw out there, the raw file is basically all the data in your file. So a JPEG is a compressed version. So when you start playing with your raw files, you just see that the possibilities are almost endless as to what you can do with your image, and you just won't go back. So yeah, I just started from the beginning.
Yes. So, and I think that is one thing that, like, as new photographers, everything feels so overwhelming for most people.
Oh, there's so much to learn. I totally.
Yeah. And so it's like, I remember when I was working at SmugMug as a copywriter, and I had gone, and so it's like a photography website.
Yeah.
And so I was still very like hack, where I was like still shooting on manual, and I've been doing it for like 4 years, but it's like, once you get your process, you don't want to mess it. And so I remember the marketing copywriter taking my camera, and she said, you're not in RAW, switch. And she just like flipped a switch, and she said, you're going to notice images look a little different, pull them into Lightroom. And it was like literally like that. That was like my crash course into Lightroom. And, and so like and the funny thing is, I think that you have this idea of like, oh, if I'm shooting in JPEG and I go to RAW, it's going to be this like huge learning curve. And really what it is images come in a little more dull, but you have significant more control over them.
Yeah,
that was
you
my
can
experience.
think about it as it's like the raw file. So, like you've got cake batter, which is raw, and then you put it in the oven, and it turns into this beautiful thing. Like, the beauty is in there. It's in the batter. It's just, you have to help bring it out. And the medium,
that's a nice way to look at it.
Yeah.
That's
so
really nice way.
Lightroom would be the medium to do that.
So why Lightroom? Why Lightroom?
Yeah, so in terms of, if we talk about why Lightroom, and then the course that I teach, which is Lightroom Magic. So Lightroom Magic is, yes, it's about processing your photos in Lightroom, but it's so much more than that. And what I want to do, and what I really wanted to do with the course, is to empower creatives is to know how to edit. So I teach the whys behind why we edit, and that way you can apply the how. So I didn't want people to just watch me edit, because the problem with doing that is you would just start copying that to every single photo. And as a photographer, light's always different, color's always different. So if you just copy somebody's stuff, you're missing out on an opportunity to really make that photo its own. And so the course is really about the power of editing, why we do it, so that you can look at any photo, any situation, any lighting conditions, and know exactly how to do it. So the things that I teach, you could apply them into, say, Photoshop's Camera Raw. So that's really like the fundamentals of what we do. But I use Lightroom as a medium because it's really intuitive for people. It's really easy to learn. It's a non-destructive editing system. You can track the history of your edits. As you said, you can sync and batch all of your images. And the greatest feature is the catalog feature. So I can go into my Lightroom right now, and it's got hundreds of thousands of images, that feels overwhelming, but I can scroll really quickly and find an image for a client. And if they needed something, or something changed, or if I needed to give them a high res or whatever, like, really quickly I can find that image in my catalog, make any edits to it. So I work with a butcher here in Melbourne, and we do work every year. And so I want to make sure my images look the same across different years that I do. So I can just quickly go back, because I can't remember how I edited from a year ago, but I did a job for them last week, and I could just quickly go back, have a look at the edits, and make sure that my edits now reflect what I was working, because I'm still learning stuff as well, and your style's always changing in your editing style. But that catalog feature is absolutely gold. And I know what you mean with Photoshop. You just work on one image at a time, and you have to save that. all separately. So just being able to have those little features not only makes your workflow quicker, but it's so much more enjoyable, I find.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, now I have a question actually.
Yeah.
Do you, when you go to like import your files, do you create a new catalog every time? Because I've been trying to figure out the best way to work with the catalogs. So do you have a catalog for each client?
No, I don't. What I tend to do is, obviously I shoot terabytes and terabytes of stuff yearly. So I have everything on external drives and I like separate the files onto there. So I always plug in my hard drive. So I kind of use it like that rather than new catalogs. But
interesting.
The computer I'm on now is a new computer. So I'm going to have to create some sort of new system with that. So I think it's a thing of always evolving. And I know, you know, other photographers will find this is you get really busy and, you know, you've got the admin side. So sometimes that can slip a little. So I think it's a process of just working out what works for you. And at the moment, the hard drives with separate client files sort of works for me. So
that's cool. Yeah, that's what I actually just had a friend in town this week who's like a former IT guy. And he was like watching my Lightroom spinning wheel of death. And he was like, he's like, and it was taking me like 3 hours to edit. And he was like, your computer's going. He's like, we have to do something. And so he was like, Brooke, you have 25,000 pictures in one Lightroom catalog. He's like, you have got to like mellow this out. So that's been my big question now is like, do I start to include, like create a whole new catalog for channels? Anyway, I was just interested in that. We'll see.
I think if I was going to think about that, I probably could start a new one at this point. Or anytime, like if I have a certain number of hard drives filled up, but it's definitely an interesting point, and I think it's something to just try and see if the new one works for you. So
I know, yeah, I'll have to try it. I'll see. Okay, so let's get back to edits. Okay, so why Lightroom? I think that a lot of people are concerned about Lightroom pricing because as soon as you say, oh, it costs money, it's like, oh, what will we have Canva and Monkey for free online. And I've certainly used those. And for digital editors, I think that they're extremely limited. I mean, you can get enough done if you don't really need a lot done. But one of the things that I have found is like, since Adobe came up with the Lightroom, like for photographers, isn't it only like $10 a month? It's so
and I think
now.
You get Lightroom and Photoshop for $10 a month, and then you get all the updates.
Yes.
And so, yeah, sure, there's definitely free things out there. There is also, you can use different picture modes in your camera to edit. But the thing you need to think about that and stuff with like PicMonkey is it is limited. So you're kind of working within the limitations of what they want you to do. And they might get a point in your photography where you want more. You want more control over your style and how you bring that out. And I think photographers, I mean, I don't like to use like successful, but I think really great photographers have this combination of how they edit and how they express their work. And part of that, you know, is editing. So in Lightroom, you're still working with what Adobe gives you, but it's just so much bigger and a range of stuff that you can do. As where I think PicMonkey, you might have to pay or upgrade to do certain edits as well. So I think you're just limiting yourself. But, you know, if that works for you at this point in time, then that's fine, because there's a lot of things you've got to learn in photography, but you'll probably get to a point where you're like, I want more, I want to improve, because photography is like fashion. It's never finished. We're always learning something new. Our style is always evolving. So yes. I think being able to have a program like this and have all those aspects to play with and really make a photo your own is super important. Even just, you know, for your mindset of knowing that this is truly your work. It's, you know, if you go back to why we shoot on manual versus auto, you know, like we're letting the camera choose our settings for us. And some of those programs you will be working within those constraints and letting them choose the edits for you. So
that's a great point.
Yeah, when you shoot on JPEG, you know, the camera's processing that for you. So it's processing it for contrast and exposure, and you're really letting it dictate the final product and the final look. So it's being able to come back to that control and really bringing your style into the image and what you exactly want to look like.
Yeah, okay, I totally love that you said that, because that was a really big aha moment for me when I really decided, like, I am going to sell myself as a professional. And so obviously, like, there are professional tools for professionals for a good reason. Professionals need to work fast, they need to work well, they need to be in control. And as a professional artist, what I realized was I have to have the ability to control the final image. That is what a good artist does, is they want you to feel things, they want you to sense things, they want you to pick things up. And so that for me was like a really big aha moment of like going from I made a pie and I took a picture to I made a pie and I want you to feel something about it. I want you to understand something about it.
Yeah.
So I do think that Lightroom, as you know, there is a reason that it's used across the board by professional photographers. It makes it so much faster. It gives you so much more control. So yeah, I love that you said that. Oh, we're on the same page. Okay. So talk to me a little bit about what you can do. You know, again, let's kind of go back to that why edit. What can you do with a raw file in Lightroom that you can't do in camera, or, you know, why? Let's talk about that a little more specifically.
If you ever jumped into your camera and had a look at some of the settings, you can do some picture controls. So that will look like, I think it's camera standard, neutral, vivid, landscape, portrait. Like you can create those settings. And basically, if you were to have a look at what settings are being applied in the camera, it'd just be a few basic things like exposure, contrast, and color. So it doesn't give you the ability to use curves or split toning, vibrance, luminance, clarity. Like there's a range of tools that those settings will not give you access to. Most of us on this call will probably shoot either Canon or Nikon. And so those picture controls between the two will be different to what Canon set the camera to and what Nikon has. So it's again coming back to that control thing of like you're just letting like the auto run. So not necessarily a bad thing. I know my husband shoots on monochrome all the time on the camera because he wants to see certain things, but he will shoot raw, so then he'll edit it in Lightroom. So if you tone curves is one of the most complex and important part of editing, and it's not something that you can do in the camera.
Interesting.
So,
do you use the tone curves every time you pull pictures in for edits?
Every time.
Rachel, I don't think I've ever used tone curves even once.
Oh my God, it's literally life-changing. Like a lot of creatives that have taken Lightroom Magic actually say the tone curve was life-changing. It's such a powerful tool. In the course, I show you my favorite and how I use the tone curves a lot in my work. So I have a go-to tone curve. But again, different lighting situations, I might have to change the tone curve to get the same sort of look. So it's such a powerful tool. And I've got a whole lesson on it, of course, and it is such a game changer in work. I wouldn't be able to process without it.
How fascinating. Okay, now you've got me really intrigued. I'm gonna head right into the tone curves. Okay, so tell me about Lightroom Magic. Okay, so I would say that, again, in our group, and I'm sure that this is what you see with people coming to Lightroom Magic, if I am a brand new blogger, photographer, and I've never used Lightroom, what am I going to get from Lightroom Magic? Like, why shouldn't I just watch a YouTube tutorial?
There's definitely YouTube tutorials out there, and there's definitely free stuff out there. I think the thing about that is like, is it good? Is it valuable? Is it valuing your time? And what I found was so many videos on editing were not tailored to food photography.
That is so true.
So food photography is different. You are not going to use split toning the same way as you would do landscape and portrait. So if you go and watch a landscape and portrait tutorial, they're going to tell you how to use split toning for that specific niche. Now, if you apply that to food photography, you're not going to end up with something that's really as good as how it looks in those other works. So I wanted to show people how to use the program and how to edit with the mindset of food photography. And so all the images I edit are just food. it's always focused coming back to food photography. So you can, there's definitely free stuff out there, but you actually have to then know how to translate that into food photography if it's a good video. So
yeah, no, and you're right. I mean, the resources for food photographers, that's actually why I started this group, because I felt like the resources were very limited. They weren't specific. And so often they were like for a level that was beyond where so many people start. So I love that. So you feel like a new user could comfortably sign up for $10 a month Lightroom, come to Lightroom Magic, and not be scared out of their boards.
Totally. Okay. And the thing is, like, you know, I've been there. I know what it feels like, and I know how to teach people as well. So it's so amazing that I actually don't get that many questions about the course, because it's so structured to help you uncover everything you need to do. And I actually give you a bunch of my raw files and we edit them together. So I don't just leave you, hang you out to dry. Like, we go through the process together. And so you can take my raw file and watch the same video as what I do and see the same result. And then you kind of know that the things that you're implementing are on the right track, or that you're using them, you know, in the way that is really going to translate into your work.
That's huge. Okay, so but what if I am an experience, like I've been using Lightroom for 3 or 5 years. Maybe I don't know what tone curves are. I'm not saying that's me, but
I think that's great though. Yeah, because you know, a lot of us are a self-taught Lightroom user, but the thing is that you're probably going to hit a ceiling, and there's, you know, when we're self-taught, we don't know what we don't know. So there's tools out there that you're not using, or you're not sure how to utilize them the best, that, you know, that's going to give you. And I've had quite a few people who have said they've used Lightroom for a long time. One girl was like, she said to me, I thought I knew Lightroom really well, but doing this course, like, I can't believe how much additional that I've learned.
That's awesome.
Which is really cool. And the other thing is that I show you my entire workflow. So it's really great to see how other people do things as well. And then you would take what you like from other photographers, elements of pictures that you like, and build it into your own work. So I think that's always valuable to learn from other people. And that's what we do. That's how it gets us where we are.
I totally agree. I think that it's like, if Lightroom is the brush, then going to, you know, an oil painting teacher in one place, what you're going to learn from his brush is going to be completely different than an oil painting teacher from another. So, I mean, photography is a creative career. And in order to be the best at it, you should learn from other people and allow, you know, open yourself up to mentorship. And I know that the most like seismic shifts that I've made in my creative life and in finding my own style has been by learning from other people and seeing how they do things.
Totally.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, we don't just land into this knowing everything about photography. We, you know, we go along our journey and we meet people along the way and find how to do things, and we try things and things don't work. And so
it's true. It's true. So tell us a little bit about, because Lightroom Magic is launching next week. When is it available?
So I'm doing a relaunch next week. And so there's going to be a whole bunch of additional bonuses if you sign up. So there's additional 5 videos of like some of my best work that I run through with you. I've got a bonus white balance video, how to use metadata and, you know, use those keywords to get your images seen on Pinterest, and then some presets. I've also got a really exciting, Adobe is giving away a full year of Lightroom, which is really amazing.
That's awesome.
Lightroom and Photoshop, which is really cool. So yeah, if people sign up between the 5th of August and the 11th, then they'll be able to grab those bonuses.
Awesome. And as an added bonus for our group, because I so love that you're doing this, and I want every single person in our group to get on Lightroom. Like, if nothing else, at the end of my life as a Facebook group admin, if we get all of the photographers on our group onto Lightroom and feeling comfortable, I will be delighted, because it's such a time saver. It's such a professional level upgrader. So what I'm doing is I am like coming fully on board as an affiliate with Rachel, because I love this course. I love what she's doing. She's taken you know, weeks of teaching that you might be able to get from me and put it into like a concise, organized course. So I've included a link in the, I think it's up here in Facebook. And if you sign up through that affiliate link, then I will also send you, on top of all of the bonuses that Rachel is giving, I have pulled together my 9 most favorite Lightroom presets, and you get them for free. So yeah, so sign up because, and the reason is because, again, just like you were saying about tutorials, what I have found is that there are dozens and dozens of presets, but very few of them are for food. And so it was really important for me to say, you know, wow, I keep going back to these 9 presets, and they are created for the kind of still life, natural light that is always streaming in. So for those of you guys that are even like remotely interested, let this be the thing that like pushes you over the edge, but the good edge, because Rachel has lined up all sorts of great information and some freebies, and then on top of that you get 9 free presets. So it's like one-click editing on top of everything you're going to learn. Rachel, I also wanted to ask you, you have a 3-day video series?
Yeah, I do. So can I share my screen? So I just got a few slides. Sometimes it's easier to like see.
Yes, let's see. If I click share screen, let's find out. You guys get, oh, it's going to share my screen. Let's see. Share screen. Oh, wait. Oh, there you go. You should, yeah. Oh, you're up.
Yeah, cool. I'll just leave it like this just so I can see the other things. But yeah, I have a 3-part video series coming up for free, and it's called Transform Your Edits. So we're going to go through the 3 must-have Lightroom adjustments. They're going to transform your images. So there is a ton of things you can do in Lightroom, but I don't want to overwhelm you. So I want to give you 3 really super helpful adjustments that you can use. So each video in the 3-part series is going to be under 13 minutes. And this is not going to be any fluff. I'm going to share some of my favorite editing secrets. So for free, I'm going to give you those secrets. And after the video in 13 minutes, you're going to be able to put those into practice. So I'm going to give you some actionable adjustments and show you how you can put them into your images. So after you watch the video, you can jump straight into Lightroom, into your images, and start applying those adjustments right away. So did you know, guys, that there are over 6 ways to adjust exposure in Lightroom? And that's something I teach in Lightroom Magic. So that's coming back to the control and really being able to bring your style out, but knowing all the different ways that you can use the tools. So in our first video, I'm going to show you how to create pop. So we're going to look at the key idea of how to create that pop factor. And I'm going to show you how I use the radial filter to adjust my tone. So the radial filter is my favorite tool. And if you haven't used it yet, guys, I'm pretty sure it's going to be yours as well. I feel like it was just made for food photography. Like, it's the best tool. And I'm also going to share with you one of my secret weapons when it comes to editing, and that is luminance. So I don't think there is one photo that I don't use luminance with, and it's really a game changer as well if you haven't used it. So I know a lot of us struggle with white balance, but I want to tell you that getting perfect white balance is possible. You just have to think outside the white balance panel. So if you do struggle with white balance, or you feel like you're 80% of the way there, but you're just missing something, then this video is going to be for you. So video 2, we're going to have a look at white balance perfection. So I'm going to run you through why you may struggle with white balance, the adjustments that you need to think about, and why the eyedropper tool is just your starting point. So if this is just your go-to and only adjustment, then you're really going to want to check out this video. And there are also 8 ways to enhance and imply color in Lightroom. So color is one of the key aspects of food photography. And being able to know all the ways that you can apply color is really going to allow you to edit to your style, your story, and your vision. So it's something I teach in Lightroom Magic. And the 3rd video of the Transform Your Edits training series is how to avoid color mistakes. So we're going to look at how to approach with an enhanced mindset and why that's really important when it comes to color. We're going to take a look at vibrance, which is where it's at. It is smart saturation. So if you don't use vibrance and you use saturation like it's going out of fashion, then you're really going to want to check out this adjustment instead. And then I'm going to look at how to focus on enhancing a featured color, which is really important in food photography. So Brooke and I did touch on this before, but who is this training for? So it's any creative that shoots food. So if you're a food photographer, blogger, or Instagrammer, then you can definitely check out this training. Any photographer that wants to kick their work up a notch. So if you're feeling like you need to take some steps to make your work better, or you're feeling a little bit stuck, then I'd love for you to come and check out this training and see if this editing is just going to be that little thing that you feel like you might be missing. And so any seasoned Lightroom lovers, like we mentioned, you may be self-taught and you may hit a ceiling and you may feel like there's just something you want more out of the program, then I'd love you to come along and check out how I use these tools. So we're going to make magic, guys, and I hope to see you in my training series. I'm sure Brooke will pop in a link as to where you can go and sign up, and then the training starts next week on the 31st.
So excited. I am seriously so excited because tone curve and radio filter, no clue. Yeah. And I am 9 years into this, so I'm so excited to learn some new tricks.
Perfect. It's perfect because you don't know what you don't know, and it's really great to see what other people do.
Yeah, that's so true.
I always say it's just adding to your knowledge belt.
And I mean, really, it's like as a creative, keep pushing the boundaries, keep pushing what you know, because you take that in and then it just expands your capabilities. So I've got hiccups and I'm super excited. Okay, 3 quick questions.
Perfect.
Tell us one thing that you love shooting.
What I love shooting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love anything that has a lot of texture and shape. So if in a perfect world, I love cake. And if you think about cake, like it's a circle, but you can cut it into triangles. There's so many layers. So I tend to think my style is like bold and clean, or more towards the minimalist side. But I don't like eating cake, but I love shooting cake. I just love to be able to. There's something about the circles too. I'm really just drawn to that.
Interesting. That's really lovely. Yeah. I like hearing when photographers break things down into like the basic colors or the basic shapes, because I think sometimes we forget that photography is about the shapes and the colors and the light. So
definitely.
Yeah. Do you refrigerate your cakes before you shoot them?
Depends on what it is.
Interesting.
Yeah. Especially if you're going to cut it, like if it's, I have I think it's a grain-free chocolate cake. So it's just basically eggs, oil, and chocolate. And you've got to be like, if that was warm and I cut it, it would just be a mess. So there are certain things that, depending on what it is.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember having this like realization a couple of years into working with, it was with Betty Crocker, and they kept asking for like cakes and baked goods. And I remember being like, oh, I need like 3 days to shoot a cake, because it's like day 1 to, prep it, day 2 to like cook it. But I used to cook and try to shoot on the same day, and it was a nightmare. The icing is dripping off. So
yeah.
Okay. For sure. What is one food that you dread shooting?
Oh boy, there's probably a lot, but I'll tell you. During the week, I had to shoot a haggis sausage.
Whoa! What'd you do?
On mashed potato with gravy. Like it was
the brownest brown.
It was so bad, and I just was like, sometimes you just have to do things like that. So I would say to date that. And do you guys know what ants on logs are?
Yes.
Like when you have the cell. I've had to shoot that before. So they were probably the 2 worst foods that I've had to shoot.
That's tough. I picked up a sausage client this year, and it was like literally 3 weeks of like catatonic fear. Like I was like, sausage. How do you shoot?
Next level. It was really big, and
big.
Like, to cook it. It smelled so bad, and I was actually trying not to vomit while I was shooting it.
Wait, so terrible. What did you do? Like, how did you make it look good?
I don't think it did look good. I just had to focus on, placement and making sure the light was beautiful, because that is, that's going to help a lot.
Yes.
So, and I was shooting on a marble background. So
that's nice.
I feel like it was my style. The food was just ugly. But
Yeah, for sure. I always shoot my sausage on blue backgrounds, because then, you get the blue brown. You get the blue brown love.
It evens out like the warmness of the sausage for sure.
Yes, exactly. Okay, and last question, tell me one prop that you can't live without.
Oh boy, one prop I can't live without. Can I use backgrounds as a prop?
Totally.
Yeah, so I really love, I'm really drawn to white, but white that has texture in it. So I would say one of my mentees has this beautiful marble tile. Obviously I am living without it because she has it, but I'm like, you need to get me one, you need to get me one. So that is something I always think about, is like getting that background would just be my go-to. So
is it like actual, like a marble slab?
no,
Like
it's like a
heavy?
fake marble tile. Yeah, it's really
Interesting.
cool.
How big is it?
It's big. Yeah, it's
Really?
like a good size. Yeah.
Well,
So
so wait, what backdrops do you have at your house or in your studio?
I have quite a lot of the ones. I have some from food styling backgrounds, which a lot of you will know from Instagram, and then just white ones. I do have like a fake marble one, but it's not as nice.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
yeah.
Well, thank you. Anything else that comes to mind that you think people should know or that you want to share before I let you go into your morning?
Yeah, just if you have any questions, come and find me on Instagram, send me a DM, or I do also have a chat on the course page. Like I'm just love chatting to people, just love, contributing to everyone's journey. So if people have any questions, please do not be afraid to come and ask me. We're all in this together and I'd love to hear from you.
Wonderful. And are you in our group? If people drop comments under this video,
I feel like I am.
let's
I mean,
find out.
we're just a part of so many Facebook groups these days, but I'm pretty sure that I am.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure that you are. So if you guys do want to tag Rachel with any questions that you might have, please feel free to drop them under this video and she can answer any of the questions that you have. And we're counting down the minutes to Lightroom Magic for serious.
Me too. It's so great. And, we have a Facebook group where everyone asks questions and shares the images. We're going to do a feedback Friday in there today. I just love to meet you all. So, yeah, I can't wait.
Rachel, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you so
You're welcome.
much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes,
it's been amazing.
we will look forward. Yes, absolutely. Look forward to seeing everything. And you guys in the group can look forward to me and my new tone curve obsession because it's totally coming.
Woohoo!
Thank you, Rachel.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
Okay, our live stream has stopped. We've